If you are over 60 and you have a collection of vitamin bottles sitting on your kitchen counter right now, I need you to stop taking them until you watch this entire video. Because the research I'm going to share with you today reveals something that the supplement industry spends billions of dollars to keep you from understanding. Some of the most popular vitamins sold specifically to seniors are not just ineffective for your aging body, they are actively harmful. And some of the vitamins that could genuinely transform your health after 60 are the ones nobody is telling you to take. I am Dr. William Lee, and today I'm giving you two lists: the 4 worst vitamins you should stop taking immediately if you are over 60, and the 4 vitamins that the research shows can reverse aspects of biological aging, restore cellular function, and protect your brain, heart, and muscles with a level of evidence that genuinely surprises even experienced clinicians. Before I go any further, here's the study that galvanized my thinking on this topic. A systematic review published in the Annals of Internal Medicine analyzed data from 450,000 participants across 27 randomized controlled trials and found that several of the most commonly purchased vitamin supplements not only failed to reduce disease risk in adults over 60, but in specific subgroups actually increased rates of cancer, cardiovascular events, and all-cause mortality. And yet, these same supplements remain on the bestseller lists at every pharmacy in the country. Every reference in this video is in the description below. Stay with me because the #1 vitamin on my must-take list is one that most seniors have been told to take very cautiously or avoid entirely. And the emerging research says that position may have cost millions of people years of healthy, independent life. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments right now and tell me how many vitamin supplements you take every single day. I read every comment on this channel, and your answers shape the content I create specifically for your generation. Now let us start with the 4 vitamins you need to stop taking. The first vitamin you should never take after 60 is synthetic beta-carotene in isolated supplement form. And what I'm about to tell you is something the natural supplement marketing machine works very hard to obscure. Beta-carotene is a plant pigment your body converts into vitamin A, and in food form in carrots, sweet potatoes, dark leafy greens, it is genuinely beneficial. But isolated synthetic beta-carotene in a capsule behaves completely differently inside an aging body. A landmark intervention trial called the CARROT study, the beta-carotene and retinol efficacy trial, was halted early by its own safety monitoring board after researchers found that high-dose synthetic beta-carotene supplementation increased lung cancer risk by 28% in participants and increased cardiovascular mortality by 17%. The trial was stopped because continuing it was considered unethical. That data has been available since 1996, and yet synthetic beta-carotene remains in thousands of multivitamins and antioxidant formulas marketed directly to seniors today. The biological reason for this danger comes down to how isolated antioxidants behave in aging cellular environments. In food, beta-carotene is accompanied by hundreds of companion compounds that regulate its activity. In isolation and at high doses, it can paradoxically act as a pro-antioxidant, meaning it generates the exact cellular damage it is supposed to prevent, particularly in the mitochondria of cells in adults whose oxidative stress levels are already elevated, which describes virtually every adult over 65. Stop any supplement containing synthetic beta-carotene and get your vitamin A through food sources exclusively. The synergy note here is that if you are concerned about vitamin A intake, a diet including sweet potatoes, spinach, and eggs provides ample amounts in forms your aging body can regulate safely. The second vitamin you should stop taking is high-dose isolated vitamin E, specifically in the form called alpha tocopherol that dominates the supplement market. A massive clinical trial called the SELECT trial, the Selenium and Vitamin E Cancer Prevention Trial conducted by the National Cancer Institute, found that men taking 400 IU of vitamin E daily had a 17% increased risk of prostate cancer compared to placebo. Additional meta-analyses have linked high doses vitamin E supplementation to increased all-cause mortality in doses above 400 IU in adults over 60. The mechanism is similar to beta-carotene. Isolated alpha tocopherol at high doses displaces other members of the vitamin E family, particularly gamma tocopherol, which actually has protective anti-inflammatory properties. By flooding your system with one isolated form, you deplete the others. Eliminate isolated vitamin E supplements and obtain vitamin E through nuts, seeds, and olive oil, where the full family of tocopherols is present in balanced ratios. The third vitamin to eliminate is high doses vitamin A in retinol form, the pre-formed animal-based version found in many senior multivitamins. After 65, your liver's ability to clear excess vitamin A declines by an estimated 30%, meaning it accumulates to toxic levels far more readily than in younger adults. Chronic vitamin A toxicity at levels that would be tolerated by a 40-year-old can cause irreversible bone density loss, liver damage, and neurological symptoms in adults over 70. A study from the Harvard School of Public Health found that postmenopausal women with the highest retinol intake had more than double the hip fracture risk of those with the lowest intake. Check every supplement you currently take for retinol or vitamin A as retinol palmitate or retinol acetate and eliminate any that provide more than 2,500 IU in pre-formed retinol. The fourth vitamin you should never take is calcium carbonate in the large isolated doses found in most standard calcium supplements marketed to seniors for bone health. This one is controversial, I know, because you have been told for decades that calcium supplements protect your bones. But here is what the research from the last 15 years actually shows. A meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal found that calcium supplementation without adequate vitamin K2 and D3 increased cardiovascular event risk by up to 31% in older adults. The reason is precisely what I explained in a previous video. Calcium without K2 has no directional guidance and deposits in arterial walls rather than bone. It calcifies your arteries while simultaneously failing to strengthen your bones. Instead, get calcium from food sources and pair any calcium intake with K2, MK7, and D3. Now, if this first half of the video has already changed how you look at your supplement cabinet, please hit the like button right now. This kind of information reaches other seniors who need it only when you engage with the video. And please subscribe to this channel. Every week I bring you research-backed content built specifically around the biology of adults in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now let us talk about what you absolutely should be taking. The first vitamin you must take daily is magnesium glycinate. And I want to tell you about Helen, a 72-year-old retired school teacher from Portland, Oregon, who had been experiencing progressive muscle cramps in her legs, chronic poor sleep, elevated blood pressure despite medication, and a baseline anxiety she could not explain. That discrepancy is one of the most common diagnostic blind spots in geriatric medicine. We supplemented Helen with 400 mg of magnesium glycinate nightly. Within 8 weeks, her leg cramping had resolved entirely. Her sleep quality scores had improved by 40%, and her morning blood pressure readings had dropped an average of 9 points. Magnesium is required as a coactor for over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including the activation of vitamin D, the synthesis of ATP, which is the energy currency your cells run on, and the regulation of your nervous system's stress response. An estimated 45% of older adults are functionally deficient. Take 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate, not oxide, which is poorly absorbed at night before bed. Because magnesium's calming effect on the nervous system enhances sleep quality simultaneously. The synergy tip is to take it alongside your vitamin D3 and K2 because magnesium activates the enzyme that converts D3 into its active form in your kidneys, and without it, even well-dosed D3 supplementation remains partially inactive. The second vitamin you must take is vitamin D3, combined inseparably with K2 MK7. And I have covered their mechanism extensively in previous videos, but the core message bears repeating here. After 70, skin synthesis of D3 from sunlight declines by 75%. D3 receptors in your muscle fibers, your immune cells, and your brain require adequate D3 to function. K2 directs the calcium that D3 mobilizes away from your arterial walls and into your bones. Take 2,000 to 4,000 IU of D3 with 100 to 200 micrograms of K2 MK7 daily with your fattiest meal for optimal absorption, and test your blood levels every 6 months to ensure you are in the therapeutic range of 50 to 70 nanogs per milliliter. The synergy tip is to always take this combination with magnesium glycinate, completing what researchers describe as the essential trio for aging cardiovascular and skeletal health. The third vitamin you must take is sublingual methylcobalamin B12. And I want to tell you about George, a 78-year-old retired engineer from San Diego, California, whose neurologist had attributed his progressive balance problems and lower leg weakness to generic age-related neurological decline. George's standard B12 blood test appeared borderline normal at 224 pg per milliliter, but his methylmalonic acid level, the sensitive functional marker of cellular B12 status, was critically elevated, indicating that his cells were starving for B12 despite what the standard test suggested. Within 6 months of sublingual methylcobalamin at 1,000 micrograms daily, George's balance assessment score had improved by 31%, and his neurologist noted stabilization of his previously declining nerve conduction findings. Methylcobalamin is the active form of B12 your neurons use directly to build and maintain the myelin sheath, the protective insulation around every nerve fiber in your legs, your hands, and your brain. After 65 intrinsic factor production in your stomach, the protein that escorts swallowed B12 into your bloodstream declines by 40%, making oral tablet absorption largely unreliable. Sublingual delivery bypasses this failing system entirely, absorbing directly through the tissue under your tongue into your bloodstream. Take 1,000 micrograms sublingually every morning on an empty stomach, holding it under your tongue for 90 seconds. The synergy tip is to pair it with folate, vitamin B9, because B12 and folate operate in the same metabolic cycle that protects nerve fibers and reduces homocysteine, the amino acid that damages arterial walls and brain tissue when it accumulates due to either deficiency. The fourth vitamin you must take, and the one most likely to genuinely surprise you, is omega-3 fatty acids in the triglyceride form, specifically combined EPA and DHA from high-quality fish oil. I want to be precise about why form matters enormously here, because the ethyl ester form found in most budget fish oil supplements absorbs 70% less effectively than the triglyceride form in aging digestive systems, where fat absorption efficiency has already declined by up to 25%. Researchers at the University of Oslo found that older adults absorbing triglyceride form omega-3s showed significantly greater incorporation of EPA and DHA into cell membranes throughout the brain and cardiovascular system compared to those taking equivalent doses in ethyl ester form. EPA and DHA reduce the chronic systemic inflammation, the persistent low-grade inflammatory state that accelerates in virtually every adult over 65 and drives muscle loss, cognitive decline, arterial stiffening, and joint deterioration simultaneously. Think of inflammation like a slow fire burning through your tissues. Omega-3s in therapeutic doses are among the most effective natural fire suppressants available. Take 2 to 3 g combined EPA and DHA daily in triglyceride form, always with your largest meal because the dietary fat present significantly enhances absorption. Look for supplements that specify triglyceride form on the label or obtain them from fresh fatty fish 3 times weekly. The synergy tip is to take your omega-3s at the same meal as your D3, K2, and magnesium. The presence of multiple fat-soluble nutrients together creates an absorption environment in your digestive system where all of them are processed more efficiently than any taken in isolation. I want to close with something I feel strongly about. You have spent decades being told which vitamins to take based on marketing, on outdated guidelines, and on advice that was never calibrated for the specific biology of an aging body. The difference between a supplement that harms you and one that protects you is not always obvious from the label, but it is always real and it always matters. You deserve to make these decisions based on what the research actually says, not on what sells your mental sharpness, your leg strength, your cardiovascular resilience, your ability to live independently and on your own terms. All of it is connected to what you put in your body every single day. It is never too late to stop what is harming you and start what will help you. The information exists. You now have it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because this is exactly the kind of content I bring you every week. Specific evidence-based designed for your age and your biology. And tell me in the comments which vitamin on the avoid list are you currently taking, and which one on the must-take list are you going to add this week. I read every single response. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next.